so many members of the Sri Samaksan Prabhu here. This is a tradition that you all have continued for many, many, many years, and notwithstanding the effects of the pandemic, we have in some small measure continued with that tradition. So this morning, as we embark on the last Sunday mornings of this year 2020, we do so with a sense of thanksgiving, as ironic as that may seem, but also with a sense of hopefulness as to what the new year will bring for us. So this morning, as we're all here, those of you who are also joining with us virtually, we welcome you, whether you're at home, some of you may be at work, many of you are abroad and looking on at us. We extend a very warm welcome to each and every one of you. At this juncture, therefore, we invite you to stand as we engage in opening and invocation. I invite you to gaze at the Lord Jesus before. Whichever form of Bhagwan you find most appealing, whichever form of Bhagwan you find most endearing to you, I invite you to gaze at that form. O Prabhu, we come before you as your children. We come before you to express our thanks, our love and our gratitude for all that you have given to us and all that you continue to give to us. We ask you, Prabhu, as we pray to you this morning, as we offer puja, for your continued blessing, for your continued guidance, for your continued inspiration and protection. May you indeed propel us forward. May we not dwell on the past, and may we continue to always be reminded of your presence within us. We join our palms together and assume that position of reverence as we go with you with invocation and praise. Hari Om. Krishna Mandir
Send out all of our love, all of our vigor to many, many persons this morning
those persons who are afflicted in some way, those persons who may be feeling that sense of depression, those persons who may be feeling some sense of anxiety, those persons who may be feeling some sense of loss, whatever be their circumstances, with the power of our positivity, the power of these wonderful vibrations, let us indeed encourage them, nurture them, and uplift them all. We join to the Lord.
Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Deva, Mata Janki Parvati Pita Mahadeva, Mata Janki Parvati Pita Mahadeva, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Deva, Mata Janki Parvati Pita Mahadeva, Mata Janki Parvati Pita Mahadeva, Ekdant Dayavant Jai Pujathari, Ekdant Dayavant Jai Pujathari, Mati Siddhur Soge Musiki Sahari, Mati Siddhur Soge Musiki Sahari, Anand Ko Magdi Modi Kotaya, Anand Ko Magdi Modi Kotaya, Ajan Ko Magdi Girdhar Kumaya, Ajan Ko Magdi Girdhar Kumaya, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Deva, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Deva, Mata Janki Parvati Pita Mahadeva, Mata Janki Parvati Pita Mahadeva, Mani Jagi Dhuli Jagi Aur Jagi Deva, Mani Jagi Dhuli Jagi Aur Jagi Deva, Nanvan Ko Bhog Lagi Sant Kari Seva, Nanvan Ko Bhog Lagi Sant Kari Seva, Priti Priti Naam Sangi Karti Deya Bhanaye, Priti Priti Naam Sangi Karti Deya Bhanaye, Deen Jani Sharan Jani Supati Deen Seva, Deen Jani Sharan Jani Supati Deen Seva, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Deva, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Deva, Mata Janki Parvati Pita Mahadeva, Mata Janki Parvati Pita Mahadeva, Mata Janki Parvati Pita Mahadeva, Mata Janki Parvati Pita Mahadeva.
Shri Ganesh Bhagwan ki Jai. We continue to glorify Bhagwan's name as we now engage in this Chalisa, Hanumanji Chalisa. As we glorify Hanumanji, let us all clap, let us all sing lustily and glorify Hanumanji.
Sweet
Krishna Mandir we join together now in the mantras of the Sandhya. We encourage those of you who are at home to join in with us as well. If you have available a lotus with water, you have that at hand as we engage now in the recitation, the verses, and the performance of the Sandhya.
region of Jannah help us to purify every place.
We engage in pranayama now. We invite everyone to sit upright. We go spine erect. We breathe in deeply, and as we exhale, we recite each of the following mantras.
Om Sarvebhyo Let all be free from sickness. Let all see good and
As I said at the beginning, I want to extend a very warm welcome to so many of you this morning who have made the conscious decision to come to the Mandir, notwithstanding the anxieties and fears surrounding the pandemic and what is safe and what is not safe during this particular time. We can assure you here at the Mandir that we have adopted all of the proper practices, including all that you're observing, the wearing of the face masks, the physical distancing, the sanitization of hands, and the scanning as we come in. And when you go to do your RT in a short while, we'll invite you to wear the disposable gloves so that when you go forward and you do your RT and you're finished and you come back and you dispose of them, the person using after you, any kind of risk will also be minimized or mitigated against. I must commend the management of this Mandir and the leadership for taking the decision that, notwithstanding the pandemic, we have maintained some sense of normalcy, not only in terms of Sunday morning services and so on, both online and face-to-face, but also this morning as we witness the members of the Sri Seva Sabha in terms of continuing with Satnarayan Swami Puja on a monthly basis. So welcome to all of you who we haven't seen in some time. I know you would have missed the Mandir as much as we have missed you, and it's wonderful to see you back. I also want to extend a very warm welcome this morning, no pun intended, to Sharvani, who's returned from Toronto, braving all of the exemption requirements, quarantining and so on, self-isolating, and she is finally free at last, as we would say, in terms of being able to mingle in a safe way. So welcome back, Sharvani. This morning, very briefly for Pravachan, it is focused on some of the things we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks in terms of choices that we make in life. And today I am just going to be very brief, and I'm going to look at one chaupai from Ramayana. And it really speaks to this time of year. So as I mentioned at the beginning, this is our final Sunday morning service for the year 2020. And many people must be thinking of 2020, good riddance. We'd be so happy to see 2020 behind our back. I don't know how many of you recall just under a decade ago, or just about a decade ago, when there was a touting of Vision 2020. I'm sure none of us would have thought at that time that this was the vision that 2020 would have brought to us. But it is what it is. And we have experienced something like we've never done in our lifetimes. And hopefully we will never experience something like this again in our collective lifetime. But as we approach the end of the year, many of us traditionally would have certain things that we would reflect upon about what we have accomplished in the past year, about what we had set out for ourselves when we made those resolutions at the beginning of 2020, on all spheres of our lives. And we now look forward to 2021, and many of us at this point are also trying to make certain resolutions in our mind about what we would like to accomplish in the year 2021. As the pandemic has shown all of us that even the best laid of plans and the well-intentions that we might have, because of external factors, sometimes put that planning and that expectation into much doubt. But nonetheless, we must still set goals for ourselves. We must still put plans in place, and we must work assiduously towards those plans. Yesterday, for example, I remember looking at a little plaque that says, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. So let us all live with that thought in mind, that we cannot dwell on what has gone. 2020 is almost ended, and all of the things that we would have probably set for ourselves and could not have accomplished, we can't do anything about that now. We don't know what 2021 will bring, but we do know what we have now. And it is important for us to bear that in mind in terms of how we go about what we do. So in terms of setting goals for ourselves, many of us would have certain health goals. I want to lose a little 5 extra pounds. I want to ensure that I exercise regularly, that I give myself the best chance in terms of my health and my well-being. And that is an important factor that we must never lose sight of. Within recent times, There are many individuals that we have known and that we know in the Mandir at a very young age are being affected and afflicted by grave health concerns. Cardiac problems being number one, hypertension being number two, and diabetes and so on being number three. And I know I might be saying this a week late because of all the sweets that we may have consumed during the Christmas season, but it is nonetheless not too late that we still continue to set those proper health goals for ourselves. On another realm, we would have also set ourselves certain material goals, whether for our students academically what you would like to accomplish, and many of our students have taken a literal beating with that because of the many things that they would have expected in terms of school, examinations, results, all of those things, and further academic pursuits. And many were forced and have been put into quite a bit of difficulty in terms of adapting. Thankfully, many of them have adapted. But we must continue to provide that support, that caring, that understanding to our young people who are faced with so many challenges that even we as adults can't sometimes appreciate with this online environment and with this change of learning. And it's not going to be any different in January. For many of the older ones who may have lost their employment, many persons who graduated but are unable to secure jobs, many persons who've lost some level of their income, the challenges have been great economically and professionally for many people. And again, we would have certain expectations for 2021. On a spiritual realm, we must ask ourselves the question, have we accomplished goals that we set ourselves for this year? First of all, did we set ourselves any goals? Did we say at the beginning of 2020 that spiritually this is what I would like to engage in? This is how I would want to develop and evolve and uplift myself spiritually. And how far along that pathway have I come? And that is a very deep question. It's a very important question, but alas, for many persons, it is not a question either asked or answered or even considered. And we must give equal measure to that realm. In all of these and many much more, we have to engage in decisions. And we spoke about this in terms of the potency of reciting the Gayatri to lead us to proper decision making. Last week when we spoke about Sri Ram, Sita Mata, Vivah, we spoke about, especially when you're getting married, the proper decisions that should be made and the way in which that decision should be guided. And this morning I just want to speak generally about decision making, and I will chant one shlok, one chopai from Ramayana, from Sundarkand this morning. About very opportune that we sang Hanuman Chalisa again. And in that regard, let us all join together. Let's firstly glorify Prabhu Shri Ram as we join together. Hari Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai
Shri
heart of every man is found either wisdom or ignorance in the heart of every man. This is declared in our Vedas, it is declared in our Puranas. It is further stated that where there is wisdom, there is also all sorts of prosperity. But where there is ignorance and unwise judgment, there is misfortune. So Ramcharit Maharaj Tulsidas Maharaj tells us that in each one of us, there is wisdom and there is ignorance. That duality that we are reminded about always, vidya and avidya, truth and untruth, light and darkness, there is that duality in everything. So embedded in us, there are those two dualities. There's that duality there, between wisdom and ignorance. And where it is that wisdom prevails, there's prosperity. But where unwise judgment takes place, it leads down to a pathway of undesirable consequences and misfortune. And if we think about that for a moment, in terms of how we make certain choices, how we make certain decisions in life, then we recognize the merit and the truth of that statement in Ramcharit. Think about any decision you've had to make in life. Anyone. Where that decision was guided by wisdom, by knowledge, and indeed by the guidance of Bhagavan, then that decision undoubtedly would have led you to joyous consequences. But where it is you make decisions without the guidance of Bhagavan, without the guidance of your Guru, without that knowledge, then there leads to undesirable consequences. Yesterday we were very fortunate, together with family members, to be in the presence of Swami Brahmadev Upadhyaya. And he was using the example, he said, and he used the example of two Khans of Ramayana. He said in Kishkinda Khan, there was a lot of thinking and a lot of deliberating and so on, but there was no decision making. Think about it. In Kishkinda Khan of Ramayana, there was a lot of thinking and talking and discussion and deliberating, but there was no decision making. As opposed to Lanka Khan in Lanka, think about Ravan's court, Ravan's kingdom. There was instantaneous decision making, but there was no thinking. Instantaneous decision making. We will do this, we will kill this one, we will abduct the other one. But there was no thinking or deliberation. How many times in our lives we react to a situation, or we make a very spontaneous decision without thinking about it, and it leads us down to a pathway of misfortune. Very simple analogy. You're driving down the road, you're approaching traffic lights, it turns amber on you, it's about to turn red, and you make the decision, I'm going to break that light. Because I'm rushing to go somewhere. I'm rushing to get to work, I'm rushing to go to the grocery. I hope we're not rushing to come to the Mandir. And I break that light. What is the potential hazard of doing that? You can injure or even kill someone and injure yourself as well. Poor choice. If you actually think about it, what are the possible effects of doing that, then we recognize and we wouldn't do it. Wearing these face masks. Many of us hate it. I don't like it. But do we take the decision, I'm not going to wear it? And what is the effect of that decision? Well, maybe nothing will happen, but that's a risk. The potential is that we can infect someone with COVID-19. That is the risk. And if we think about it, we might really decide that our being uncomfortable for a little while is worth that rather than risking the health and, I dare say, the life of others. 125 people have died in Trinidad and Tobago. But by far, the population has adhered to the directives, and you all are testimony to this, by adhering to the proper practices. We could look at another large neighbor of ours where we always look to and say, well, we want to be like them, we want to be there. 3,000 people die a day. And still you have people in the midst of 3,000 people dying a day saying, they're bothering me. It's not a problem, business as usual. Because it has not touched home to those individuals who make those foolish statements. The day that one of their loved ones dies, then they will understand and think differently. So poor decision making, where is the wisdom? So I'm drawing the very simple analogies. So as we approach 2021, and I will conclude now to allow you to go out. As we set about, and as we should be setting about, to make goals for ourselves, goals for our families, goals for our business, goals for our mandir, goals for our organization, we should be planning those things. Let us be guided by Bhagavan. Let us be guided by that proper knowledge and that wisdom. Let us pray about it. Let us think about it. I remember somebody having a very really important decision to make. And he asked me, Panditji, what should I do? I said, go and pray about it. And then decide. And that is what we must do sometimes when we are confronted, not sometimes, all of the times, when we are confronted with challenges. Because that wisdom that Tulsidas Ji Maharaj wrote about in our Ramayana comes from that inspiration of Bhagavan. So as we set about for the students, 2021, let us be mindful of the decisions and the choices and the goals that we should set. Make sure they're realistic. Make sure they are things that are achievable. Make sure they are things that are noble and worthwhile. In our homes, let us set similar goals for ourselves. As parents, it's a challenging time. But let us set the example. COVID, if anything, gave us the opportunity to be together as a family because we couldn't go out. It gave us that opportunity. Since March to now, what did we do with that opportunity? It gave us extra time on our hands. I, for one, didn't have to spend 2 hours in traffic going up the road and 2 hours in traffic coming back down the road. So I must ask myself, what did I do with that extra time? And so must you. So it gave us opportunities, and I dare say, in the new year, it will as well. And the question is, what did we do about that? Spiritually, what did we do? And I'm asking the rhetorical questions because we must ponder about it and make a difference as we go forward. Spiritually, how am I going to uplift myself in the new year? What am I going to do? And if you do that, then the decisions that you have to make, the choices you have to make, will be guided by that wisdom. One of the easiest ways is mantra japa. So again, as I conclude today, I invite you to sit upright. We've done it before, but let us now chant the Gayatri Mantra again 5 times. We will chant it 5 times. And as we do so, let us pray to Bhagavan and let us realize that He is within us. Let us realize the potency of Bhagavan and how that potency, that energy, that vibration can uplift us all, can turn us away from negativity, and can allow us the proper decision-making capabilities. There's so much that changes in this time. This year we've seen new life. We've also lost life. It continues on. Where do we fit in that paradigm? Let us join our mouths and just sit upright as we chant the Gayatri 5 times. Hari Om Bhurbhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. May Bhagwanji's blessings be with each and every one of us. I invite you now to come forward and perform your arti. A reminder again to use the gloves as you come forward, and when you finish, then dispose of them. I want to extend thanks, because we will not have announcements, to all persons who contributed into our Mandir for this year, both financially and otherwise. Those of you who gave of your time, your energies, all of the persons who decorated the murtis every week with flowers and so on, our Pujari and his Glenn, who kept our Mandir going, all of you wonderful supporters. Not to mention as well our members of our Vita class, who on Christmas Day led and spearheaded the celebration of Gita Jayanti with a very, very successful virtual streaming of discussions on Bhagavad Gita. I want to extend our thanks and our gratitude to them, and indeed to all of our wonderful devotees. May Bhagwanji bless you for the remainder of this year. We look forward. We will not have an Holiest night or New Year's morning service. Our next service will be on Sunday, the 3rd of January. We look forward to seeing you all with us then. Please come forward and perform your arti at this point. Yes, Fernando.
Hari
This will be our final urgent before final item. When we are leaving this morning, the refreshments have been provided by the city, and they should please partake before you leave this morning. As we conclude our puja this morning, as we conclude our offerings of love for you, Lord, we ask for your continued guidance and inspiration. We ask for your protection amidst all of the difficulties, all of the troubles, all of the anxieties that we may have. In a special way this morning, Prabhu, we ask that you bless those persons who are ill in some way, who may be suffering. Those persons who may have recently lost their loved ones and are indeed feeling that sense of sadness. For you, Prabhu, our mother and father, your family, your friend, your knowledge, your wealth, you are everything to us. As we end this year, as we begin a new year, may we continue to be guided by your blessing and your inspiration. Let us always resort to you. Let us beseech you at all times to guide our decisions so that we may be guided by the things that are proper, noble, and perfect. O Prabhu, we pray to you. Tvameva Mata Shalpita Tvameva Tvameva Gandho Shaseka Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Om Sadhuma Sakanaya Dhamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Mridam Ganaya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Praise Bole Shri Ganesh Bhagwan ki Jai, Bhagwan Mahadev ki Jai, Vrindavan Vihar Dal ki Jai, Aaj Vinava Durga Maya ki Jai, Shubhatra Hanuman ki Jai, Shri Satyanarayan Swami ki Jai, Praise Bole Shri Satya Sanatan Dharma ki Jai. Chanting those around you, Sabkoi, Jai Sitaram, Jai Sitaram, Jai Sitaram. May Bhagwan bless you today for the rest of the week. May you have a very pleasant Olia's Eve and Olia's night, and may you join with us next Sunday, the 3rd of January, for our first Sunday morning service. You're reminded that refreshments have been provided for everyone, so please partake before you leave. And again, maintaining the proper protocols and social distancing. Yes, everyone bless you all.